All right, everyone. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks, Lila. Welcome to the webinar, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. Looking forward to showing you guys some tips and tricks within Jazz. We'll do some introductions here in just a sec, but we've noticed over the many phone calls, onboarding calls that we've had with a lot of our customers, kind of recurring themes on some functionality within Jazz that some folks are missing out on, maybe some little lesser known functionality in the system. So we wanted to point that out to all of you and just show you how to save some time using Jazz. I'm going to turn it over to Lila. She is going to introduce us, and this is our first dual webinar here, so we're pretty excited about it. It's kind of fun. We're going to make it fun today for you.
Yeah, we hope not to bore everyone to tears today. We've been on trainings before, and we know how they can kind of make you fall asleep sometimes. We've attended our own webinars for various things. We just don't want to make you snooze. And if you're starting to nod your head at the webinar, just send us a chat, send us something in the questions saying, pick it up. I'm bored out of my mind. We'll try and do something interesting for you. I'll make Randy start singing some songs.
You don't want that.
So a little bit about us. We both started at Jazz basically on the same day. So we're best buddies here at Jazz, and you guys have probably talked to one of us before, if not both of us at some point in your tenure as a customer here. So we're kind of out there all the time in the world. Randy's favorite Jazz feature, create that job link.
Love it.
Love it. Track those candidates, funnel them into the system, easy peasy. My favorite feature, workflow helpers, automate. I don't like doing work, as you guys probably know from working with me. So workflow helpers, those are my fave. We both love craft beer. Randy's love those super strong West Coast IPAs, basically alcohol sludge. And I like sour beers. So basically fermented vinegar. That's what I like.
Gross.
We both have adorable dogs, as you can see in our photos here. We've got Minnie Cow up on the top. That's Randy's dog, little dachshund. And my dog down on the bottom, she's a blue tick coonhound. Her name's Tayo. So that's actually her in the office there. So, she came in to visit for the day. It was great. And couldn't be more timely. Randy's rooting for the Penguins tonight. And I don't know one thing about sports. So if you guys ever want to chat about sports, just dial right into Randy's extension. I have no clue what you're talking about.
That's right. Let's go Pens tonight. Big game. Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, but, I don't really know anything about it. So I'm riding on the coattails of the joy. All right, so we're just going to get right into it. So we're going to show you some strategies for converting your internal documents into Jazz. This would be your paper applications that you're still using. You're still handing out to candidates. You're making them sign and scan, send them back. Interview feedback forms that you might still be having in a Google Doc or a spreadsheet. Something that isn't actually in Jazz, while we have an interview feedback form feature. And weekly reports. Maybe you're going in and counting out numbers in Jazz individually, or going to the Analyze tab and counting things out and then putting it in your own Excel spreadsheet. We can make some shortcuts for you, show you how to use custom reporting, just kind of help you out. We have some real examples from actual customers, just like you guys, to kind of help out and show how you can do this. So that's going to be our first topic. We're going to show some efficient ways of communicating with candidates. We're going to touch on my jam, workflow helpers. We're going to talk a little bit about email templates and batch emails, as well as just touch on social recruiting and some career page customization options. Maybe things we brought up before, but we still see a lot of these things not implemented. We just want to make sure that everybody is getting the right answers to their questions and knows how to find this stuff in the app. So this is going to be very question oriented, so feel free to ask a lot of questions as we're going through. We're going to be reading and answering them live, so we're going to pause a lot, but feel free to submit questions as we go along, and we will get to them. All right, so I have a poll for you guys that I wanted to start out with. I hear this a lot in talking to folks all day, and I just want to know how many of you are an HR talent acquisition department of one, or maybe two, if you want to cheat a little bit. But I'm going to launch a poll here, and feel free to fill it out. It's just interesting to me because I hear a lot of people struggling, saying, "Oh, I wear all these different hats all the time," and I just want you to know, get an idea of how many of you are not actually alone in this. It's kind of interesting talking to people all day and saying, "Oh, do you talk to anyone else who's just HR department of 1 or 2 with a little coordinator or an HR assistant?" All right, cool. Everyone's voted here. I'm going to share the results. All right, so yeah, the majority of you are 39%, just 1, and 34 almost, very small department. So, a lot of you are probably struggling with the same issues that a lot of you are facing on a daily basis. So definitely ask questions because, chances are if you're thinking it, someone else who's in the same boat as you is thinking it too. So please ask us questions. This is definitely going to be helpful for you to try and conquer some of those battles that you're going through on a daily basis. So I just wanted to give you guys a perspective on that a little bit. And then I do have one more poll for you. How many of you are using applications, interview feedback, offers, or reports outside of Jazz? Got the poll going too, so feel free to fill that out. I'm more just curious, how many of you are using these forms outside of the system, and we definitely will have the availability to ask questions and kind of figure out what other forms you might be using, so we can take that either back to our product team for some feedback, or maybe touch on how we can get that back in the system. All right, so looks like most of you had voted here, so I'm just going to share this out. All right, wow. That's kind of what I expected. Yeah, a lot of you are using stuff outside of Jazz. So this was why we wanted to put this together today for you. Even if you don't exactly use the examples we're showing, I just want to maybe start the brainstorming process of how you can start getting these forms into Jazz or think about converting these over. I know it's really hard to get your hiring managers on board, but ultimately it'll make it easier for everyone to have everything in one spot. All right, I'm going to hide the results. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is applications, and I'm going to pass it on to Randy, who's going to kind of walk you through an actual example of that.
Yeah, thank you, Lila. So one thing I hear a lot of questions and I demonstrate a lot is the ability to build out an application, or basically take a paper application that our customers are using, build it into Jazz using our questionnaire feature. We do offer a lot of customization within questionnaires, so it's very simple for you to take a formatted a formatted application that you have on your end and convert it into Jazz. So a good example here, we actually have one of our customers, AWeber, great email marketing company based right outside of Philadelphia, and recently we've touched base and kind of worked through this together. So just want to show you a quick example. This is what their application looks like. At this point, they are currently having employees fill these out on paper and scan and send them in to them. So I'm sure many of you out there have applications similar to this that hopefully after today you can kind of create into a digital document and send it, receive it, and complete it all digitally. So let's take a look into Jazz here. And what I've done, just for example purposes, is I've actually gone in and just begun building out the application here under questionnaires. Kind of a generic name, I put a application, but what you'll see here is we have a number of different fields that you can use to go in and, again, use questionnaires in Jazz to create a digital form of your application. Let's get rid of all the paper and the manual sending back and forth, scanning it in and printing it and whatnot. Jazz can actually allow you to do that. So you'll see as I come down and just scroll a little bit briefly through these, I have different answer formats like yes, no questions. I have general paragraph questions and answer sections, more drop downs here. You saw a date field earlier, but very simple to go in and add a question. What I can do here is select a different question type from the drop down menu here, say paragraph text, and I want to add a question that just says, how did you hear about AWeber? spell, and basically just require an answer. So very simple, again, to go in. I know I'm kind of beating the dead horse, but it's very simple to go in and add these questions, customize it, and then ultimately, as a just kind of what it looks like from a generic standpoint is this. Now, this can be sent to a candidate post-application. So our philosophy here at Jazz is to really keep your initial application process as simple as possible. Don't ask a whole lot of questions and have a big laundry list for an application. Keep it simple. It's going to attract more candidates, more passive candidates. And then what you can do with Jazz is go in, once a candidate applies that you're interested in, you can actually send this questionnaire to the candidate post-application. So this is what it would look like from a candidate's view. They would go in and they would just start simply answering questions and complete the questionnaire. So again, very simple, a great way to kind of convert your paper documents into a digital format. And definitely something I recommend. If you do have any questions and you want to review walking through how to convert your application into a questionnaire, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help wherever we can, come up with some creative ideas to, to make your questionnaire very simple to use from an applicant perspective.
One other thing too that you can do is, I just want to walk through this too while we're here, is I just want to walk through sending the application to the candidate, because Randy had touched on that, but I just want to show you how to do it. So here we're in our candidates tab. I'm going to grab Patty Mayonnaise.
And we actually just got a question from Taggart. Thanks for the question, Taggart, asking how to send it in an email. So that's perfect timing.
Boom. Anticipating. That's what we do here at Jazz. So questionnaires. You'll see it here. I'm in the candidate's profile. Patty's got a real great resume here. She's really put a lot of effort into it, so that's nice for her. So these are the questionnaires she's already completed. Here's how we can send it out to her, via an email. So we'll see, we can choose the questionnaire to send. So if you wanted to send out an additional one or a different one that was the initial application up front from your job application, just select the questionnaire to send, customize the subject, customize the email text here, and you're all set to go. You can hide your personal email from the candidate if this is something you're kind of sending out to everyone. So definitely super helpful to get this out, get the information back in the system. You'll be able to send reminders after you send it out. So if I send this to Patty, I can come in, remind her again if she's being slow. It'll send out another email saying, hey, send this to Patty. So very, very helpful, way to collect that feedback without having to have a lengthy application process. And it looks like we're getting some questions in, Randy, or?
We are, yeah, Loriana with a good one here. So as Lila just kind of demonstrated, you're able to send the questionnaire on demand, regardless of the workflow stage that the candidate's in. Follow-up question you had is, can you include this in a workflow stage? And that's a really good question. One thing I always recommend is assigning a task to a workflow stage. So basically going into, and let me actually demonstrate this real quick. I think putting a visual on it will help. I'm going to go into edit my workflow. And say, for example, I want to send the questionnaire out as or under the take-home test. What I can do is I can go in, I can type or attach a task to my workflow stage as a reminder, and I can assign it to anybody on my hiring team, and basically just remind someone to go in and send out this questionnaire, just to be sure we don't forget about it and make sure we're doing our due diligence. But really good question. Like I said, just to reiterate, the questions or the questionnaires can be sent on demand. So regardless of the workflow stage, we can send at any time.
Another question here from Miranda. Can we send the application to a batch of candidates at once for that one role? There's no way to send a batch application. It's a one-off basis per candidate. So it would just be going in, sending it off to the candidate you've already kind of pre-screened a little bit to receive that particular application. That's great feedback, though. Does this online application require an e-signature so it becomes a legal doc? Great question, Peter. We've had this come out a lot recently. So there are some ways, I'm not a lawyer, first of all, disclaimer, not a lawyer. But I have seen other folks here at Jazz, other customers at Jazz, use a questionnaire on the application, something like, please check here I'll use it on Aweber's instead of creating a whole new one. So I'm under questionnaires, clicked into my template name, I clicked add question. Now I'm going to select the question type single line text. Please type your full name here as acknowledgement of these terms and your submittal of the application. I mean, I have no idea what I'm writing right now. I'm not a lawyer, but there's people who do use this way of sending out or confirming or using an e-signature for the application without requiring any additional processes. And spoiler alert, we're going to be releasing e-signatures at the end of the month here as an addition to Jazz, but you shouldn't necessarily require an e-signature as part of your application. Oftentimes a checkbox saying you acknowledge or typing in your full legal name is sufficient. I would definitely check your state because I don't want to steer anyone in the wrong direction, but that's definitely an option. So.
One more good question came in. Is there an email notification or a trigger when the application has been received or when the questionnaire has been received? The answer is yes. Great question. Whoever is the hiring manager for that position, so whoever's listed as your hiring manager is going to receive an email notification saying, hey, your candidate's completed this questionnaire. Take a look here to view it, and then you can go in and actually take a look at the questionnaire. So yeah, you do get a notification. Really good question.
All right.
Cool.
So we're going to move on here. And any additional questions that we don't get to, don't worry. We will get to them after the webinar. So keep asking them. It's really great stuff. It's just we can't fit all the questions in live today. But we'll definitely get back into them. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is interview guides. Interview guides can definitely help you with your feedback forms. If you're spending time filling out a Google spreadsheet, filling out a Google Doc, attaching a Word doc to an email to a hiring manager saying, hey, fill this out and send it back to me. And then you type the notes back into Jazz, or you just don't get them back into Jazz at all. And then what happens if you decline this candidate after the interview, they apply again in a year, someone else is working here, you've moved on, you're a VP of HR at some huge company, you have no idea what's going on, the person's coming in and they were terrible, no one knows. So this is a really great way to kind of help keep all that information on this candidate's profile for reference later. You can see everybody's feedback. As you see here in my little screenshot on Sid's profile, I have everybody's feedback. I have when interviews are upcoming. So it's really, really helpful to get this process implemented. And I know right now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, like my hiring manager is not going to want to do that. Well, it'll be very easy to send them out a link, just as easy as it is to send them out an attachment that's on your email. So it just requires a little bit of initial setup and training, but the payoff is really going to pay off. So I'm going to just show you an actual example, just like with Aweber here. Thanks Aweber for letting us use that demo.
Yeah, thank you, Aweber.
So here we have, this is an actual example of a customer who sent this over to me and was like, Lila, I have no idea. My hiring managers are using this. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me out. So they sent me this. I was like, this is awesome. This is perfect. We can totally put this into Jazz. So we have interviewer name, candidate name. They were sending this out to their candidates or out to their interviewers, sorry. And then interviewers were handing it back to them and then nothing was happening after that. So what we can do is take this nice, simple interview debrief. We'll come into Jazz, head over to our admin tab, come to the interviews drop down here, and you don't need to make your interview guides complicated. They don't need to be 15 million questions directing people. It can just be something like, we have some examples here. If I just wanted to get rid of these questions, don't, oh, this has already been answered before. Don't get bogged down in thinking about all the questions that you're going to have to ask people because it's an interview guide. Oh, it has to be structured. It doesn't have to be that way. It's totally customizable to what makes sense for your company. If you guys don't want a super structured way of providing feedback, you don't have to. If this is analogous to what you're using, or something like this, you can do this in Jazz really easily. So we can just do feedback form. You can select the duration here, whatever makes sense for you. I'm just going to leave it as defaults for now. You can put any preparation notes. So, please don't ask about this, that, or the other thing, especially the other thing. And then we'll add questions. And we'll come in, we can just do a paragraph text, which is free form text, feedback, colon. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. They can type in all of their feedback when you come into a candidate. So if we want to use sweet Sid as our example here, we'll come into Sid's profile, come over to the interviews tab. We'll move him into a new stage. All right. So we'll add our interview. What did I have? Feedback form. Add interview. I'll pop this out. Start my interview. I see my preparation notes here, so they have that right in front of them. Your interviewers have the resume. Your interviewers have the job description. They have everything they need to kind of get the best information on this candidate, post-interview, during interview, after interview. This is also responsive, so it'll shrink down if they're on their mobile device. And they can just put in their notes, and then they can rate the answers. So, in my example, there were those thumbs, going middle, sideways, like, you can use the rating questions like sort of as an equivalent to the thumbs. They can add another question if they want to write some additional details outside of the feedback notes. Then they can click complete interview, decide whether they pass or failed. Again, similar to those thumbs that were shown, pass, fail. They can leave any notes. Complete interview. And then when we come back in this discussion stream, it's awesome because we can see all the feedback coming in from everyone on the team. So you see this coming in. It's not just you trying to sort through all of your open recs, everything you're working on, every candidate that you're working with, trying to figure out, oh, I don't remember what candidate this job is associated with. Everything's just under this candidate, and you're seeing it come in as the interviews are being completed. They can come back and edit those interview guides. So this is much more efficient than trying to figure out where in the heck all of your information is all over the place. So, that's why you have an ATS, and here's another great reason to kind of expand your functionality. Any questions on that? Don't want to waste your time too much since we are kind of running out of time, but just want to answer a few questions if we can. All right, great. So last thing I want to show in the sort of form translation section is creating your own reports. So I know a lot of you email me, email Randy, call Randy, walk into the office and shake Randy by the shoulders, and they say, I'm making all these reports and I don't know how to get this out of Jazz. I need a list of all my candidates and their sources. I have this weekly report that I need to give my boss that shows everyone who applied. Custom reports are going to be your best friend in that. I'm going to show just one example of someone who sent me over a report. They were like, Lila, I'm dying. I have to fill out this report every week, and I'm manually going into Jazz and I'm grabbing all this information. And I was like, oh my gosh. No, you do not have to do that. We can just generate it in Jazz. You can save it and then update the dates, run it every week. It's not a big deal. So let's walk through that pretty quickly. I'm going to go into Jazz here, and I'm also going to show you, this was the original report that was sent over by the candidate. I've changed some of the names to protect everyone's privacy, but don't worry, Oprah Winfrey was not applying for a job in Fort Lauderdale. But you can see here our this is what they were kind of manually grabbing from Jazz. They were going into the candidate, they were going into certain areas and just pulling out this information. And while this is not the same formatting, this is what I gave them. Okay, so this has all the same information. It has the candidate's name, the workflow stage that they're in, the date that they applied, the job they're working on, the job status, and the hiring week. So, they could reformat this any way they want to, kind of change this up, add any additional notes or information that they want based on what's going on with the particular candidate. But instead of manually going through and entering this information, we were able to grab all this from Jazz. So it saved them a ton of time. So what we can do is go over to Reports, click Create Custom Report. And if you guys haven't seen this before, this is going to rock your world. So custom reports allow you to basically grab almost anything in the candidate profile and grab it and put it into Jazz. So we can see all these columns here, and if I scroll through, we'll be here until probably Tuesday of next week. So I'm just gonna click search, and if I wanna do a list of candidates and all their sources, for example, I'll start typing in source. It'll bring up this, I can just add it in. Maybe I want to have the candidate name. Oops. First name, last name. Maybe I want their workflow status and I want the job title. So I'll come in here, search and title. So here we go. I can generate this report. Now I can see a list of all the candidates ever that I've applied in my system, the source that they came from, the name of the candidate, the workflow status they're in, and the job title. And then we can drill down even deeper if we want to. Maybe we just want to see people who came from Glassdoor. Or maybe we just want to see someone from a particular position. You can start typing in those filters. Maybe you just want to see people in a certain workflow stage. You can start filtering out that way. You can also do neat stuff like add in a link to the candidate profile. Just was on the phone with someone yesterday that they're manually going through and adding in links to candidate profiles. There's no need to do that. Just come in here, click on this link here, and then you'll be able to add a link to the candidate profile so you can reference them right from your report. You're not having to go back, double check. I know a ton of you are working with a bazillion candidates a day. No one expects you to remember everything about them, except for maybe Randy. He's got really high expectations.
Super high.
And you can also do this with the job title too. So you can get a link right to edit your job in here as well. I can come in, make these edits to my job. If I know I got to change a bunch of crap in my job description and I need to do this fast. Someone told me, maybe you're changing your name of your company or changing your brand name. You got to come in and edit every job description. Run a search on your open jobs or run a report on your open jobs. Add a link in here and click into every job. You're good to go. So this is going to be a huge time saver. And then you can save reports. So if I wanted to just save this as my weekly report, click save. Then I can come through and export it into an Excel spreadsheet if you want to pretty it up or change the formatting, so it does match the original report, things like that. So happy to answer any questions if anyone has any questions coming in here just regarding custom reports, if anything popped in your head regarding interviews, things like that, happy to answer.
Can we circle back to interviews real quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So the question is, my managers don't like having a computer in front of them during interviews. Any suggestions? Completely understandable. That's still something that's kind of taboo. Some companies are going to that. Some people feel that it's a little bit informal. So it's definitely a great question. I want to walk through that. Bear with me for a sec. We're going to jump back into Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah, Patty. She's hired already. We hired her without even an interview.
Well, it's Patty Mayonnaise.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
So I'm going to pull up the interview guide again here. And I just want to note, Lila pointed out the View Resume and the View Job Details button here. Also, what you can do is click this print blank guide, and this will basically just give you a brief, kind of a generic Word document that you can print out and fill out during the interview. Obviously, it's a little bit more, people are a little bit more comfortable taking notes on paper during interviews as opposed to taking in your computer. So this would be a good way to kind of get around that. After the interview is complete, I can then go back into the interview guide, into Patty Mayonnaise interview guide, and capture the feedback that I have written down there. But great question, and I just really wanted to point that out because I've heard that a number of times, and I think that'll help to paint a clear picture.
Yeah, great question, and thanks for showing that, Randy. I think that's super helpful. If your hiring managers don't want to be in front of a computer, they're a little scared about putting something into a computer, you can print that out, send it along to them, and then just put the notes basically for your records. So yeah, super helpful. Any other interview guide questions? All right. One thing I wanted to touch on too, which is a question that I received about reports, was the ability to export the report. So I definitely did want to showcase that. So here's the exported version of that report that we ran really quickly. So looks pretty basic here. You can take that formatting and do whatever you need to with it. As I showed before in my example from a customer as well, just the basic formatting, but feel free to come in and do whatever you'd like with that. So awesome. All right. So any other questions about anything we've covered so far? I want to make sure that we're able to get to everybody, and able to help out everyone. It seems like we have another question on questionnaires.
We actually do, but actually we have a couple of questions waiting here. Be patient, folks. I'm actually going to be demonstrating a couple things in just a second, and I think it's going to help to answer a few of these questions. So
great.
Bear with me for just a minute.
All right, so definitely going to talk about communication a little bit because, my workflow helpers have been so dear to my heart, and Randy's going to just orate on my favorite topic.
It's tough to get her to stop talking, folks. I apologize. So talking about closing the loop, it's kind of generic, and I know that's something that everybody uses, but keeping in communication with candidates is huge. It really creates a good candidate experience. You obviously don't want to have candidates going out and spreading rumors or even truths about your company and how you just kind of blow people off when they apply and a candidate's not a good fit for the position. So there's a couple of things that we like to use to help automate the communication with the candidate and close the loop and basically keep candidates in the loop based upon wherever they are in the application. Lila had mentioned her favorite feature of Jazz is automated workflow helpers, and this is perfect because this is like the definition of creating efficiencies in Jazz right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go into a job here. I'm going to go into admin and workflows, and I'm just going to go into our support position here. So the best example of an automated workflow helper is going to be adding a rejection letter or basically a thanks but no thanks email that we're going to send automatically to candidates that we decide we don't want to move forward with and phone screen or interview or whatever. So if I go ahead and click on the add button here, I can add an automated or add an email. Now, in doing that, it's going to pull up a list of my automated emails that my email templates that I've created. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and check our rejection letter template. I'm going to choose my candidate as the recipient of the email, and you'll see here a preview that will basically let you know exactly what you're about to send to the candidate, and I can add this email. Now, the beauty of this is that anytime a candidate is moved into this not hired workflow stage, a little modal is going to pop up, a window is going to pop up that's going to say, you're about to send this email to the candidate, would you like to send this email? At that point, the box is checked, you would say yes, and it would send the email to the candidate, saving you a ton of time having to manually go in and create those emails every time you reject a candidate. Also, again, from a candidate perspective, it kind of puts them at ease saying, all right, I'm not going to be moved forward with this position. Let's keep looking. Let's keep trucking along and try to find something else. So sending batch emails is another really awesome way to efficiently send emails inside of Jazz. A good example of this is, say you hire someone for a position and you want to just let everyone else know that they haven't been hired, or the position's been filled. I click on my candidates tab here and I go to send batch email. And say I'm looking at our front-end developer position, and I've taken my candidate that I've hired and I've moved that candidate into a hired full-time position. So all of my other candidates, even new candidates, I want to send an email to saying this position's been filled, you're no longer being considered for this position. I'm going to select all of my other workflow stages. I'm going to choose to keep my email address private, just so I'm not getting bombarded by candidates and getting a whole bunch of emails. You're then going to see a list of all of the candidates that will be receiving this email. So you can just verify that. In this case, there's quite a few. And then what I can do is send an automated message, select my email template with the job is filled email. I could go in and edit my subject. I can also customize my message here if I'd like, and I can go ahead and send the batch message whenever I'm done. It's going to send that the job is filled email to all of these candidates with one click of a button. So very easy to send mass emails. And again, you're closing the loop with all the candidates so they know exactly where they stand in the hiring process. So workflow helpers, again, very important. We have some customers that will go into their workflows and they'll talk about where the candidate currently stands in the process. So say you're using the standard workflow here, and after the interview is completed, you want to set up an automated email that lets the candidate know, hey, thanks for coming in for the interview. We're going to have a meeting to discuss your candidacy with us. You'll be hearing from us within the next few days. So very easy to go in, create these automated helpers. Doesn't take a lot of time to actually send them out, but ultimately the candidate's in the loop, and it makes for a great candidate experience as you're moving forward. So just an example of, we actually saw this message not too long ago, actually in May 12th. This was an automated rejection email to a candidate, and the candidate actually sent a response to this company that rejected the candidate and just basically said, hey, thank you so much for the actual human response. It's great to hear, a genuine no, as opposed to just like an automated, you're not going to work here because you're not qualified, very generic email. So even using the automated features in Jazz, you can really customize them and make them appear like they are personalized and not sent from a robot. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. I saw this and it was really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So questions. There she goes again. Do we have some questions, Lila?
Yes. We have some great questions, and I was just so excited to answer them for you guys. I had to interrupt Randy as usual. He can't get a word in edgewise. So I wanted to show you a couple. One thing about the automated response to candidates. So before we go in and answering questions, the same person who forwarded me that email about the auto response also really customized their auto response in emails. So we have the automated reply to candidates under admin and emails. And you can come in and customize this as much as you want. So if you want to put in some information about your company, really sort of personalize it so it doesn't feel like they're receiving the same message all the time. This is a really good way to kind of enhance that experience as well. And as I said, we've had a lot of questions. So can we change multiple statuses to one status at one time? Batch
actions. Show it. Demonstrate it.
All right, I will. I was going to give it to you since I wouldn't shut up, but I will do it. All right, great. So batch actions, if you think about it this way in Jazz, if you're trying to do anything in general in bulk, click the Candidates tab. You're going to find your send batch emails. You're going to find searching. You're going to find your batch actions. in the Candidates tab. So you can see this little batch actions here. There's a few you can do from here, but searching is going to be the primary way to start filtering your candidates so you can make those batch actions. So if we wanted to come in and batch disposition candidates in a particular job, we'll come in and you have to select the job so it knows what workflow stages to grab from, because as you may know, each workflow is individual to each job in Jazz, so you must select a job so that Jazz knows which workflow you want to work from to batch disposition them. So I have my job here. Maybe I want to grab just anyone in any status. I'll do my new folks. I want to search candidates. I'm going to select all my candidates, scroll down to the bottom, click Batch Actions, change status, and move them into a screen stage. Now, I want to reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not seeing change status, you must select a job. That is going to be the differentiator. So I know I've had people say, well, I've never seen that before. Select the job, and I can 99% guarantee that you will now see that option. So definitely that is where you're going to find your batch status moves. You can do them based on anything in these profile filters as well. So select job, and then you can drop down and choose anything, custom questionnaire filters, profile filters, anything that makes sense for you. Change several statuses to one. You cannot change multiple statuses to one at the same time. So it's just one status to one status. Another great question. How much fun do you guys have setting up the fake candidate profiles? Yeah, Betty, we have a ton of fun, obviously. We try and ask each other, obviously, if you have ever been on any of our other webinars, you'll see there's a lot of Game of Thrones references.
Yeah, it's been real Game of Thrones heavy recently.
Yeah, so you can tell when we come in and create them on a Monday morning. Okay, so another question. Does the batch letter only go to candidates that haven't already received an email? Great question, Debbie. It goes to every candidate on that list. So whether or not they've received an email, it'll go to that candidate. So I recommend just leaving them either, leaving it to just go out to candidates to new or active status, or if you're just sending out a generic job that's filled, maybe they're not hired people still want to know that anyway. Can you set an automated email one more time? Quick run through.
Do it.
Oh man, all right, I've been tasked. Okay, so automated emails. This is my favorite thing, Miranda, so you're making me the happiest girl in the world right now. All right, so I'm in admin and workflows, and I'm gonna choose my workflow. I'm gonna scroll down. I'm always using the rejection letter example. If you guys can give me a better example that's more positive, please do. But I like to just use this as an example because I think it's very helpful. So we come in, we click add, email, rejection letter, and everyone who's a Jazz user will have this rejection letter email option. There's some other custom ones you can create if you want, but everyone has job is filled in rejection letter. We're going to select candidate and then add this email. And I'm seeing some questions about delaying this.
Yeah,
yes.
Show it. I was just going to say, we just got like 4 in a row.
All right.
Show the actual process of putting the candidate into a not hired status.
All right.
Paint a good picture.
I'm going to reject Michael. It's going to give me so much satisfaction. So I put Michael into a not hired status. He now sees this rejection letter that's popping up just to let them know. So if you guys do not want to send this for whatever reason, this is your brother-in-law or something, you can just deselect this option and it won't send. If you want to go ahead and send it as a part of that helper and then delay it, here's where you have the option to delay. And shout out to Loriana who asked the question earlier. She was a big help in getting this 12 hours as a part of the option. So, if you guys have feedback, we love to hear it and we will put it in the app. So 12 hours is our minimum delay, and then you can go all the way up to a week. Confirm?
We got actually two folks asked a question about dispositioning candidates based on the response to a question.
Oh, yes, another great one. Randy, you're setting me up.
Yeah,
you're setting me up.
So, this is a good question, and again, one that we get quite often. You do have the ability to disposition a candidate or not move a candidate to a not hired status based upon the answers to certain questions in the questionnaire. So Lila, take the wheel.
I'm going to do it, and you're going to love it. Okay, so I'm in the candidates tab. Remember, guys, I said bulk actions, bulk emails, all of those batch things, candidates tab. So even if you forget everything I say today, at least take that away. So I'm going to hit search. I'm going to go to advanced search. I'm going to select that job I've been working with, the front-end web developer. Custom question filters. So remember we said, this is where you can come and disposition candidates based on a questionnaire answer. I'm going to go to my software engineer position, add my question filter. So I'm going to boot out everyone who has 0 experience coding. So I set up this question with this answer, 0 years, search my candidates. Ooh, Michael Jones again, can't wait. Batch actions, I'm going to change status. And I'm going to move them into a not hired status. And then go, and it'll still send out those rejection letters. That's the best part too, is you don't have to go back and then do those rejection letters again. It'll send those out, confirm, you're good to go. You don't have to read through individual candidate profiles. You don't have to read through individual questionnaires. So this will be a big time saver for you. All right.
Wait, we got another use for templates. I use templates for interview confirmation emails that include office address and other interview prep information. That's awesome.
Teresa, you're amazing. I love it. Keep. If you guys have any other things like that that you use and you want to share, please share because we will read them out loud. And as I showed you at the poll in the beginning, a lot of you are 1 or 2 people. So anything that you can share with each other, because Randy and I cross share, and we try to share as much information as we can, but having you all in the same place is the best. All right, so
Susan, you say you can't see the change status under batch actions. Make sure you select a job from the dropdown.
Got to be in the job, Susan.
Yep.
Got to be in the job.
As soon as you select a job, you'll be able to see that when you select some candidates.
Yep. You have to select a job first. That's going to be the main reason why you don't see that is if you don't select a job. So definitely do that. All right, we realize that we have some extra questions in here. Like I said, we will follow up with you if we can't get to your question today.
Or get to them at the end.
Yeah, or get to them at the end. Yep. So next thing we want to go over is, what does your website look like? Are your candidates having a good experience applying to your jobs, or is it hard for them to find your job site? Is your hosted page seamless with your website? What I mean by that is all of you have this Jazz hosted page that's like your company name.applytojob.com. This is where your candidates apply when they find your jobs on the free job boards. This is where you find a lot of that information. So you definitely want to make this a good experience. This is going to make you have better candidates and kind of maybe more attract passive candidates. So I want to make sure that everybody is aware of our career page integrations. And as I've, had a lot of conversations, Randy's had these conversations, we still see a lot of people who haven't customized their Jazz hosted page or are using our careers page integrations. So we just want to do a quick check and see how many people have customized their careers page. So if you could just take a moment and answer the poll that we just shared out, that would be awesome. Just to give a quick overview, we just want to know where you're at. So we'll just wait here for a sec for those votes to come in. And I also want to get an idea, because if you mostly people who are here already have that set up, then I won't go into detail on it because I don't want to, again, bore you to tears. All right, we're getting votes in pretty slow here, folks. Have you fallen asleep? Has everyone fallen asleep?
No.
Oh no, we've not done our job. We've bored everyone. All right, so here is the results. So most of you that are here today have customized your careers page and you're using a Jazz career page integration. Heck yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So I won't go into it in too much detail, but there's still, a good bit of you, the rest of you that aren't. So, for those of you who aren't, this is going to be helpful for you. For those of you who are, maybe this will be a good refresher and some little updates here. So I won't spend too much time, but I just want to go into it quickly.
Lila, I want to interrupt real quick. I have a good idea to wake people up.
Yeah. Are you ready for career pages?
That is a disco mix of the Rocky Beat. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. All right, so I am under admin and job board in order to kind of edit any career page stuff. So what I mean by your Jazz hosted page is what I referred to earlier. So this would be your company name.applytojob.com. This is where your candidates come in. This is where they apply. If they see your job on a free job board, they'll see this application here. So it's really important that it looks like something that your company is associated with. And most of you will probably have this responsive layout checked. If you're still in the legacy layout, switch over. The responsive layout is mobile friendly, so candidates can apply on their mobile device. I'll just show an example of that real quickly. So this is what it'll look like. Really, really nice, really easy. They can come in, check out on their phone, put their application in. So very, very simple and easy to get set up. Just click responsive layout and it'll automatically save. You can click edit this layout to come in and make any changes. So you can come edit the background color, the links, you can upload your logo, you can change that message on the right-hand side to give maybe some more information about your company. If you want to put any links, you can do so. If you want to put like a link or to maybe an award that you guys have won or a PR thing about you guys, then definitely use this place to do that. So making this creative and look nice and look similar to your actual website will be really helpful in attracting candidates and making them trust your company more. So absolutely do that if you're not already. Really briefly about website integrations for those 15% of you who are not using any of our integrations. Here's where you will find them: admin, job board, and the jobs widget. Copy and paste, for those of you who don't have a lot of time to set this up, copy and paste this jobs widget, put it in your careers page, and it will syndicate your jobs out, no problem. That's literally all it takes is copy and pasting this line of code and putting it into your careers page. And then your candidates will be able to come in and apply to your jobs right within the system. They're funneling back into Jazz. It looks great. It looks like a part of your website, and you're not spending a ton of time setting it up. So highly recommend doing that. Any other questions about that, support@jazz.co, they can help you out. But I did want to go over that briefly since it is so important. Any questions on that at all? Any quick questions about website?
Yeah, a lot of comments. Good comments. Thank you on how simple the integration is.
Yeah, I heard a bunch of comments about that. A lot this week, actually. A lot of people saying they thought it was going to be hard, but it was easy. So, if you're thinking, oh man, this is going to take me so much time, it will not. Just copy and paste that code and you'll be good to go.
Oh, here you go. Show an example.
An integrated example. Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Show the basic and the advanced real quick.
Okay. What would be a good one, Randy?
I like a good nano string.
Nano string. Shout out to Maya. She's on here today. Nano string, they're using our basic widget here. The Jazz stuff begins right at this open positions. And then if I click view details, I can come in and click apply now. And Maya just has this out of the box set up. She's not, doesn't have any custom integrations. She doesn't have anything fancy. It's just, she just put this widget in and copy paste it and it's good to go. You can get more fancy with it if you want to. Just pass the information on to your web team and they will be able to help you get set up and customizing this. But this is what it looks like right out of the box. That's just the basic widget. Let me think of another one with the advanced. Here's Fractal Analytics. They're using our advanced widget. And this just is more if you're hiring for more positions, and it has the search function as well as advanced filters. So that's if you have a lot more open positions.
Oh, we got a request. Let's do it.
All right, idsllc.arrow/employment.
Integrated de-icing. Oh, there's a good example of the basic widget.
Oh, hey, all right.
Shout out to Peter, looking good.
Peter looks great. Look, Peter said it was easy. He was able to put everything in here and apply now. And if you know any integrated de-icing services experienced people, refer them over. Peter's got you covered.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool company. If you're on the East Coast or in a cold area like we are, we're in Pittsburgh. When your plane flies out of Pittsburgh in say February and it's really cold, they actually de-ice the planes for you. So pretty neat.
I'm gonna do another one here since you guys are so sweet and sending these over. Wait, Randy, go back to that one.
Oh, sorry.
Killing me here, Smalls. All right, Susan. Susan, yeah, all right. Basic widget. Look, killing it.
Direct.
I love it, people. I love it. Oh yeah, we got to rep Brilliant Earth.
All right, one more. This is it.
We love you guys. We can't help it. All right, Brilliant Earth. Great products, great company, great widget.
Yep.
Check it out, folks. This is the advanced widget.
Customized.
They're going advanced. They've got it customized. Love the folks over there. Looks great. So definitely doable. You don't need to have a big team to do it. You don't need to have your entire website developers behind you. It's just a simple copy paste for 99% of implementations. All right. The next thing we're gonna go to is referrals, and I know you guys know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but referrals make the best candidates. I just want to go over our referrals and social media tools and just kind of, some tips, encourage those employees to keep a great LinkedIn profile and reshare like your jobs that you share out. So I'm going to go over to Jazz just to show you our referral tools quickly here. So if I'm in my front-end web developer position, I'm going to click the Refer tab. Now, this Refer tab gives you the ability to share the word on social media. You can click to share on Twitter. You can share right from the Twitter account that you're logged into or log in here. You can share on Facebook. We also have a Facebook app. It's a little more robust, that you can kind of create a careers page on your Facebook page. Definitely reach out to support@jazz.co if you are interested in getting that set up. It's also, the instructions are on our success community. So if you just click this little question mark and search Facebook, you'll be able to find information on getting that set up. Sharing on LinkedIn. If I share here from LinkedIn, it'll share right from my LinkedIn account that I'm logged in with. And again, have your employees come in, like, share, comment on those so they can come out. I always like to see that coming through. And if you share it, Randy and I, any other members on my team will share and like that out, so you can get a lot of visibility to it. So definitely super helpful. Randy's favorite feature.
Yes, create the job link.
All right, so creating a job link lets you come in, create a custom job link to post out to any job boards that Jazz and is not integrated with. So if you're
syndicate to.
Right. So if you want to post out to Craigslist, you can come in here, start typing Craigslist. In this option 2 box, you'll see it generates this link. You can copy and paste that link out. If you guys want to use this for anything like recruiting events, if you hold on-site events at universities or anywhere you want, you can come in and copy paste this link, and you'll be able to kind of share that out. Or if you want to share it on like a business card for candidates at an event to apply to, they'll funnel back in and they'll be tracked with that source. So really, really helpful. And like I said, referrals, best way to get good candidates. We all know that.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt. Source tracking is really, really important. That's something I've identified for many of our customers. This is a great way to keep track of source. If you have budget, if you have spend, this will determine where you should allocate it, where you're getting the best candidates from, where you're making the most hires from. So that's why I really love Create Job Link, and that is all.
Awesome. Thank you, Randall. And so then we can click Request Referrals to come in and enter email addresses, which will automatically send out an email with a job URL that's specific to their email address that we can then track those applicants and see here. We can see, okay, Randy, he had 3 views on his applications and 2 applications from his particular email address. And then in the candidate profile, you'll also be able to see whether or not they were referred. So if I come down, I can see the refer here. So definitely super, super helpful in kind of tracking those referrals and getting those referral programs out there. You know, you really want to start one up if you don't have one already, and you'll be able to track and keep all those candidates within Jazz. All right. All right, guys, we went a little long today, but thanks so much for joining. And if you have any other questions about anything we went over today, please feel free to ask now. We will hang out and answer any other questions. You know, we went over a ton of stuff today. We went over batch actions, batch emails, questionnaires, custom reports, editing your careers page, referrals. We went over so much stuff today, so please feel free to ask any questions at all.
And just a quick plug, keep an eye out for our marketing department sending you some emails. We are introducing e-signatures and document storage into Jazz on June 30th. So June 30th, we will be integrating with an e-signature company, and it's really exciting. It's going to make everyone's lives even easier, even with a little bit of a lightweight, I'm going to call it a lightweight onboarding functionality.
You can call it that. I don't think anyone will be mad about that. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be great, guys, and we'll probably hold another webinar regarding that. So you'll see emails asking for a webinar. It'll be myself and someone from our product team. So you get to meet some of the amazing folks from our product team. So please join that if you do see the emails come through. So any other questions at all today? I am going to just mute myself for a second so that we can give you some time to think about any questions.
Give everyone a break.
Yeah, I know, it's awful. Droning. All right, thanks everyone so much, and we will answer any of the questions we weren't able to get to that might have been a little longer. We will follow up with you for sure, and if you do have anything that comes up as you're going through and using Jazz, please don't forget about support@jazz.co or our knowledge base, and we're also getting a knowledge base revamp, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It's going to be great. And thanks to everyone who is sharing their career pages out and participating in the polls. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more of these tips and tricks webinars, please email us at webinars@jazz.co and give us some feedback if you want to see more. We'd love to know whether or not these are really helpful for you guys. So I really appreciate it. Have a great one.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a great weekend.